Peace and blessings, everybody, and good morning on this happy Monday. I am Asia Nasir, founder and nonprofit strategist of my consulting firm, Utopian Enterprise Business Solutions, and author of my second book, Nonprofit Doesn't Mean No Profit. Today, I wanted to share with you a topic about something that a lot of my clients and a lot of potential clients that reach out to me, I'm starting to see a trend. And this is what usually brings my topics up for you guys each and every week is what is trending that doesn't work well. And in this particular video that I'm going to do with you today is on annual strategic meetings. A lot of my clients have no idea what an annual strategic meeting is, what to do at one, what's the purpose of having one. They're just kind of going through the day-to-day, trying to get from each event to each project to each program to, whatever it is they're doing, each fundraiser. They're just creeping along. But they don't know when I speak to them about annual strategic meetings in order to make that more streamlined and more efficient. What I was just talking about, they have no clue. They're like, what is an annual strategic meeting? So I want to talk about the 5 steps for a successful annual strategic meeting. But what I also want to do is I want to share with you today the importance of having one. Why would you want to have an annual strategic meeting? Even if you're a grassroots nonprofit just getting started, just been in, existence for maybe 2 years or so, why would you want to have one? Well, the importance of having an annual strategic meeting is just like when you hear business coaches or you go to school, college, and they tell you, you need to create a business plan. You need to have a business plan because if you don't have a plan, you plan to fail, right? So that's the reason, that's the most important reason why is being a visionary, being an entrepreneur, being someone who's leading a cause that you're wanting people to rally around and champion with you, that vision has to have strategy behind it in order for it to be impactful. And that is what my job is to help nonprofits to be able to be as impactful as they can in real time. So with having your annual strategic meetings, it allows you to create strategy around fulfilling your mission in real time, not just conversation, not being general in what it is that you're doing, but really being able to show and have intention, purpose, and an action plan, a how-to behind everything that leads to making sure that your mission statement is impacting the recipients in the community that you're wanting to serve. So having your annual strategic meeting allows you and your board of directors, your decision makers, your executive team to be able to get together and create strategy around the next year, the year to come, right? So that's the importance of having it. And if you don't have that, it's going to be very difficult for you to be able to see where you are, how you're doing, and really, kind of put a microscope to your nonprofit to be able to see if it is really being impactful or not. So I want to provide 5 steps that if you're going to take this step and say, you know what, this is something we're struggling with, maybe having this annual strategic meeting is going to be the thing that's going to turn this around. I want to share with you 5 steps for a successful annual strategic meeting. So you just don't want to have one. You want to make sure that it's successful so that way when you implement the things that are discussed in that annual meeting, it's going to create the impact that you want to create. So the first thing that you want to, the first thing to ensure that you have a successful annual strategic meeting is you need to start the meeting with making sure that everyone is still on the same page, that vision alignment, making sure that everyone from you, your board of directors, there may be some new board of directors, you may be voting at that annual strategic meeting because some board members' terms may have been, may have ended or is about to end, and you need to vote on new board members. Having that vision alignment of what the mission is, what it is that you're trying to do, who it is that you're trying to help, and making sure everyone's on the same page is extremely important. because where you start may not always be, where you are in the next year. I mean, I think we've all been in relationships before, whether it's friendship, intimate relationships, and business relationships. Sometimes people's visions change. Sometimes people's expectations and or their vision for their own life changes. And so you want to make sure that everyone that's on that board, your decision makers, are still on the same page with you, still with the same intensity and passion for wanting to fulfill the mission. You want to make sure everyone in that room is on the same page. And with that, with new board members coming in, you want to make sure that they understand what the mission is, what the vision is, how we run this ship, and making sure that they're on board. And then for those that are, you're going to be voting on, you want to make sure that everyone is on the same page, as I mentioned, regarding that vision, because as you're choosing potential board members, you want to make sure that you're choosing people that you feel, potential board members that you feel are going to support and have the same passion as everyone that's in that room. So you're going to look at certain things as it relates to the meeting that you had with them. What have they done? Have they supported other nonprofits in the past? What are their references as it relates to, how they served on that board? Does it align with the vision and the mission of your organization? Is it in alignment with it? So that's the first thing you want to do, because any conversation after that, if you're on different trajectories and looking, going this way and the other one's going this way, the meeting is not going to be successful. It's not going to be productive, and it's definitely not going to yield anything that's going to be impactful for your community, and it's just going to be time wasted. So you want to make sure that everyone is on the same page when you have your mission statement, making sure everybody feels the same way, wanting the same thing, and wanting to push for the same cause, right? The second is strategic direction. And what I mean by strategic direction is really now taking an introspection of your nonprofit organization. And that means, looking at it with a fine-tooth comb and making sure that, where are we? Really assessing where you are. And what I like to do at my nonprofit annual strategic meetings is, for my nonprofit, is do a SWOT analysis. Where are our strengths? What are we good at? What have we been doing good? What have we expanded on? What are we doing great? Right? What do we get feedback on? What programs are really, running well and having the impact that we want? And then we want to look at areas of improvement. What's not working well? What's not, reaching the audience that you want to reach? What's happening within your organization? Is it board members? Is it volunteers? Is it committees? Whatever it is that's within the infrastructure of your nonprofit. Maybe a program is not yielding the benefits that you want or the impact that you want. You have to assess those things, right? Funding may be an issue. Maybe we're not achieving the annual budget that we're looking to reach. What is the reason for that? And then your opportunities. What are opportunities that we have not gone after that can turn those weaknesses now into strengths? Using those opportunities to turn that around. And then looking at potential threats. What could be the reason that is causing whatever it is that's happening within your organization. And that's something that you, as the founder, should be doing with your board members, so that way everyone has a perspective that they are sharing with the board, and everyone gets to take a look at it and say, hey, does this have some credence? Is this something that we really need to change? So being able to take an introspection, and that's really important, because any change that you want to make in the community, you first got to make it within yourself. As an organization, you got to make sure you're in tip-top shape. You got to make sure that you are looking within yourself to say, hey, what kind of tweaks and adjustments we need to make in order to fulfill the promise that we made to this community. So that's number two. That should definitely be in your something that you have, or something that you do, I should say, at your annual strategic meeting. 3 is board member engagement. You want to make sure that you, as the founder, or whoever you have facilitating your annual strategic meeting, is not just standing up there talking. Make sure you're getting the engagement of your team. And there are some fun ways that you can do that. So you don't want to make this feel like it's another quote unquote meeting. You want it to be something that is powerful, something that they're motivated by, something that they're like, I look forward to our annual strategic meetings. And that's doing things like team building exercises, making sure that everyone's working at a team, having exercises such as conflict resolution. Because you have a board doesn't mean that you always agree and always see things eye to eye. However, part of your bylaws, is the fact that you want to fulfill the mission. There's no one person, including the founder, the executive director, there's no one person that is above the mission of the organization. So what you want to do is make sure that even in conflict resolution, it's always in mind that this is not personal, that we conduct ourselves in a respectful way, although we differ in our opinion or our approach to something, and making sure that what is going to be in the best interest of the organization, the community, and the recipients, right? So conflict resolution, which could include exercises like effective communication. I actually did that during COVID. We did it virtual, and it was just as much fun. We did it virtual, and everyone understanding their communication style. And then being able to understand other communication styles that were within their board, and then being able to approach accordingly. So that way they could have less conflict resolution and more effective communication and more productivity, right? So those are fun exercises that you can have. Sometimes people laugh and they're like, you just have a really good time. So you make that strategic meeting something that's also fun, but educating, reflective, and something that's going to motivate you and inspire you to want to be better board members, better founders, executive directors, and so forth, right? So that was tip number 3. The other 5-step that should be done is resource optimization. And what do I mean by resource optimization? I'm using terms that are nonprofit, but it's really important to making sure that your organization is moving in a positive direction. And what I mean by resource optimization is assessing your financial health, the financial health of your nonprofit. Are we where we need to be financially? Are our fundraisers, generating the outcomes that we want? Or are these fundraisers a bust? Are they not generating anything, or, very little? So you may have to assess changing your strategy as it relates to fundraisers. Maybe grants that you're going after it's not aligning with your mission. It's not supporting your mission. You're not getting the results that you want, right? Budget allocation. Sometimes, as a nonprofit, you have to assess, where are we spending money? Are we spending too much money on this? And is it really effective? And can we tweak it? So those are those moments at your annual strategic meeting where you may have to pivot how you do things. During COVID, a lot of businesses realized that, hey, we don't have to have a brick and mortar necessarily. We don't have to have this expense. So we can sit up here and have people work remotely and still be able to generate the outcome, the profits that we want, but not doing it the same way or going about it with the approach the same way that we did before. That's something that you may want to do as far as your resource allocation. Where are your resources going? Is it being distributed in a way that it shouldn't be? Should we tweak that? How is it being allocated? Do we need to tweak that? All of those different decisions as it relates to your financial health of your nonprofit organization. And that can make the difference in you being able to be more successful for the following year. So that takes me to the last step that you should consider when creating your annual strategic meeting. And that is making sure that you're doing it in a timely fashion. So what I mean by that, when you say, okay, I'm going to have a strategic meeting for the following year, what you will find in most grassroots nonprofits is they will have their annual strategic meeting in December, right? November, December, fourth quarter. For their first quarter, January. That's not going to work. It's not going to work. And that's because if you are assessing your programs, you're allocating your budget and you're saying, hey, we probably need to change this, tweak this, maybe need to spend more money in this program because it's expanding or whatever the situation may be, that means you have to have time to raise funds for whatever that is, for those programs, for those field trips, for the supplies, for the speakers, or whoever it is, whatever it is that you're doing, you want to be able to have a budget, an annual budget that's going to be able to help you be able to determine how much money we need to raise for this, how much money we need to do. What would a successful year look like for your nonprofit? So if we were able to make the money that we needed, raise the money, earn the money, however you do it, what would a successful year look like? So you can't do that 1 to 2 months before the year starts because you're already behind the 8 ball. January is coming. You have programs, you have services that you want to provide in January, but you haven't given yourself time to raise the money that you need in order to have that ready. So you're kind of trying to do some fast campaigns, some hasty fundraisers, and you're wondering why possibly your fundraisers are not generating what it is that you want, is because the planning, the strategic planning, is not being done correctly. So what I suggest and what I have done is we do our annual strategic meeting at least 6 months before. And I know some nonprofits that do it a year before. They're working their plan that they had from last year. And now that we're working it, we're going to have our annual strategic meeting in January, setting up for the following January. That's how advanced some actually go. Some go 6 to 12 months before the year is, so that way they can have time to be able to write grants for the programs that they want. And grants you don't get decisions overnight. Sometimes you write a grant and you don't get an answer sometimes for 8 weeks, sometimes even longer. Sometimes you wait 12 weeks before you can even get a response. Sometimes you have to write a letter of inquiry before they'll even allow you to apply for a grant application. So it's time that needs to be, taken in. If you're creating an annual gala, that requires time to prepare so that way you can raise money for your nonprofit. So you definitely don't want to make decisions about your entire year 1 to 2 months before the year starts. So that's the 5th step, is making sure that you are giving yourself the time that's needed in order to be able to have or reap the benefits of the decisions that you made at that annual strategic meeting. So that way now you can start implementing it with ease, with the time that's necessary. So that way it can be, as I mentioned before, a successful annual meeting, because now you have the proof in the pudding based on the time that you were able to give yourself to do the things that was mentioned in the meeting. So those were the 5 steps. So just to recap before I close out this live, is vision alignment. You want to make sure that everyone is on the same page. 2, you want strategic direction. Making sure that you are doing that introspection. You can use a SMART approach or you can use a SWOT analysis. Either one would help to be able to make sure that you are assessing your nonprofit and where you are currently versus where you want to be and what opportunities you're missing. 3 is board engagement, making it fun, doing some fun activities to make sure that the board is together, cohesive, healthy. We have a good relationship, effective communication, conflict resolution, team building, all that fun stuff, right? Number 4 is you want resource optimization, checking in with your organization's financial health. And last but not least, giving yourself the time to be able to facilitate and host your nonprofit annual strategic meeting, so that way you can start implementing it and giving it the time that it needs for the following year. So that is what I wanted to share with you today. If you are interested and you've never had an annual strategic meeting before and you're like, you know what, I think I really want to do this, I'm your girl. As I mentioned before on the onset of this video, I am a certified nonprofit strategist, a fundraising specialist, and a certified grant writer. And I've been running my nonprofit for 13 years and worked with nonprofits prior to that as a business developer when I was in the corporate world. So I do have some experience in nonprofit work. So I say all that to say, if you're looking for someone to help you host your first one and maybe come in and do some of those workshops, those exercises that I was explaining to you before, you can contact me through my website at utopianenterprisebiz.com. So that's utopianenterprisebiz.com. And when you're on our website, just click on Contact Us. It'll let me know that you're interested. We'll set up an initial consultation and we can get you started. And as our mantra is, we first help you learn, then help you drop the L. So that is what I wanted to share with you today. Make sure that you make this a productive week, an impactful week. Make the changes. Look within yourself as a leader to see if there are changes that you need to make in order to influence and motivate your team to be able to do the same. If you have any questions or if you want to reach out to me once again, you can find me here on Facebook under Utopian Enterprise Business Solutions page, or you can reach us and subscribe to our YouTube channel under Asia Nasir, which is my name, and you can follow us there. Hit the notification bell so that way you don't miss any of our lives that we do weekly, as well as you can take a look at some of our previous videos and be able to, assess and benefit from the videos. We have some great content for our nonprofit founders and board of directors out there. So again, make it a great day, make it an impactful week, make it a productive week, not busy, but a productive week by implementing, not just listening to the content, but making sure that you implement the information that you need so that way you can make the impact and live the mission of your organization in real time.